We're live. Okay, perfect. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to I Want Entertainment. We are here, Gamers Paradise 2, Level 2. Another confessional from Brandon. Brandon, I'm going to let you start off where you see fit. Well, not if, I will have questions. I will jump in, probe you based off of what I hear. Okay, so take her away.
I think this game so far has been really interesting because there's been this like illusion of like fluidity and like there's no these like big alliances forming. And this round I think has been important because I think some of those lines are starting to be like drawn and people are starting to kind of find their like roads to move forward. I'm seemingly, I feel like I'm kind of floating somewhere in the middle and I'm trying to figure out who I've got in like unlocked. Like I know I feel really good with Tyler and Autumn, and that's a group that I feel really comfortable with. But what I'm starting to see is these like groups like kind of forming around, and I'm wondering how in with them I am versus how expendable I am. I feel like and this is probably more paranoia talking, but I feel like there's this like little group in the middle of Kennedy, Papa, and Billy that are kind of like.
I was just gonna ask, okay, some specifics. Also, I will remind at level 2 forward, no VA will be able to see any footage whatsoever. So speak candidly, it's just me, Zach, Gwen, Drew, and Rocky, if they even watch these.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like Billy, Kennedy, and Papa are kind of floating here in the middle. I feel like Billy's doing a good job of kind of like trying to diagnose people's types. Kennedy is like a super hardcore gamer and is like analyzing stuff. And Papa seems to be in the middle of kind of like exposing drama and like exposing alliance lines. And I think right now he's stirred up a lot of concern and paranoia and drama around this alleged POC alliance. But then also outed this alliance of 5 between him, Romeo, Sean, Benny, and I think it was Sharonica. I can't remember for sure. So Papa seems to be leading some charges, but I think is also smart enough that he's wanting to suggest we do racing to try to target Sharonica. But I think in doing so, he's trying to set up like maybe Tyler as like someone that can be targeted in a couple of rounds. So I'm like super weary of that right now. And it's making me low-key concerned. So I don't want to give him any power moving forward. He's an ally for now.
For now, meaning?
For the...
Like through it, let's say racing occurs the way y'all expect it to. Is it power through racing and let me assess the situation afterward, or is it like I don't even want him to have his ideal way during racing?
I don't think I want him to have his ideal way during racing. I think I want to see what this alleged list looks like, because I think from what I've heard, it sounds super sketch. Like there was talks about putting Jackie and Sean near the bottom, which concerns me because I know there are people who, especially after this vote, are maybe not super pleased with them. So I don't think it's a guarantee that Sharonica will go. And if that's the case, an angry Sharonica in the game is bad for everyone. And I think the way he's trying to set this up is further separate people from people he assume are working together. So I think he feels I'm probably decent with Sean and Jackie, and he wants me to separate from that. So I think he's going to try to set me and Tyler up towards the top so that he can then kind of turn around and be like, oh, see, look who everyone's like going for. And then maybe in a round or two kind of flip the script since he's in the middle and try to like snipe us out. So it depends on what this list looks like and what the order is, but I like don't want to be at the top of this list. I really want to float somewhere kind of where in the middle where I'm safe.
Okay. So this round started Phil's being debugged. Majority of overwhelming majority of people voting for the survival level. Congratulations, by the way, CPU. We didn't specifically talk about that. I usually congratulate, but you didn't have to really make any decisions. So it's sort of like your CPU with the luxury being safe, but not the downside of having to piss people off too bad. How did that feel winning the survival level? Tell me a little bit about the breakdown of the selection, the fallout, or bonding that took place thereafter.
Yeah. So I was like, coming to this round, I was like, if there's one to win, it's this, because it's still early enough. And fortunately, I'm like working pretty closely with Autumn. So being able to choose her kind of felt like a no-brainer. I also had the benefit of her being a newer player and her just being on the block. So that I feel like gave me plausible deniability. Of course, there's always some ruffled feathers and like a schoolyard pick. And I particularly felt pressure after the fact from Sean, because him and I have been trying to work together. And I just feel like there's always an impasse with him where I like try to do the right thing and try to explain things to him. And he just gets kind of like mad about it. And then I'm like trying to apologize. And then it feels like he doesn't trust me afterwards. So that was kind of tricky. There were some interesting choices I found, like Haley picking Garrett was interesting. Sorry, next door, I'm in next to a weight room, so there's like music bumping in the background if you can hear it. Yeah, so on one hand, I'm like, great, less blood on my hands, but just like with the players like in the game and how they're like reactive, it still feels like there's some sort of fallout or consequence because of it. So I'm just trying to like sit back and see like what damage was actually done and what can I do to like mitigate that.
Okay. The selection left Tasha unlinked, King unlinked, and Benny unlinked. Tasha ended up winning the corruptor, leaving King and Benny as the final glitches. In Brandon's ideal scenario, how does this first survival level end? Situating you in the best position going into level 3.
I think moving forward, Benny seems to be the smartest choice to leave here. I think Tasha pulling herself up off the block was the best chain of events for myself. I think King was going to be an easy pawn for a lot of people to vote out. And the reason I say that is because King seems to not be as involved in like the politics of the game, whereas Benny is an incredibly smart person and has found himself in these or at least I can say in the 5-person alliance, right? And so I feel like Benny has more strategic power in this game, and as he becomes more active is going to become more of a threat towards me. So if in fact King was working with like a larger group of people and those people were willing to vote him out, he is therefore going to have some more like he's going to be more fractured from them, which means he's either going to be a benefit to me or someone I can pick up, or he's going to turn his sights to someone else, even if he's not my ally. Whereas I feel like Benny is just not going to work with me, period. So I would rather have someone who might have their sights somewhere else than someone who might have them directly set towards me. So I think in this round, if I'm going to move forward with protection, it's going to be with Benny out of the game.
Okay. Now, how are you feeling about your overall position right now?
It's I think it's shaky, if I'm being honest. we had talked about last round about my threat level and whether or not that was gonna be like an issue for me and like when it was. And I remember saying that I thought it was gonna be soon. And lo and behold, this round comes out and there's rumors, some true, some not, about who I'm working with and my social threat to the game, which seems to kind of link back towards Sharonica, who seems to just be like kind of a rumor mill this game. Um, so yeah, there were rumors that I was a social threat that needed to be taken out early. There were rumors of me having pregame alliances with Kennedy. There was rumors of me working closely with Tyler to try to take out Sean and Jackie. And so what I think happened is that there was like a target being painted on my back. So I've been trying to spend this round trying to be low key, trying to not directly associate myself with those people that I'm being associated with, and trying to just work on my relationships one on one. Like I spent some time working, trying to like, you know, work at Haley, make her feel more comfortable with me. I'm trying to get on call with Jackie to kind of get a better read on her and where she's at with all of this and kind of clear the air. So I don't know. I feel like it's an uphill battle, and I'm looking to shift that target away to other people. And I think as more drama arises and more people are getting paranoid, I'm going to try to use that to leverage that target away from me and onto someone else so I can reposition myself in the game.
So you wake up today. I'm not sure if like you were already awake, and so like this was something that entered your morning, or if you woke up and this was something that was like on your lap waiting for you at the kitchen table morning, right?
Yeah.
Mainframe, your
Yeah.
perspective, what do you think of it? And how do you think it's going to impact the game as a whole and your game like specifically?
So I feel like my big thing with this idea of a POC alliance is that I've never had an issue with it. And I feel like I've made that very clear to the people I'm working with. If there is to be a POC alliance, I say go for it. Like let the players have the agency to play the game they want to. I was trying to not really blow it up or like leak that information out, because like leaking alliances does one of two things. It either like blows it up or it forces people together and like creates that narrative. And I wanted to let the cast members kind of like create their own like narrative and how they wanted to play the game. So I was trying to not like lean into that narrative too much. But like once word gets out there, word is out there and people are going to talk about it. So I was trying to not like hype it up too much, but I also like didn't want to bring it up to like Sean or Romeo or Jackie, because that again forces a narrative upon them, which I don't think was like totally fair. That being said, now that word is out, I'm particularly concerned yet again with Sean. And I feel like Sean is going to have some sort of problem with me in that I didn't bring it to his attention. Which again, it feels like this weird impasse in our relationship where it's like I'm trying to like get a good read and like try to play a game fairly, but like I'm just like being punished for it, which is like frustrating because I've now found out he's like in a separate alliance with like Papa. And I'm like, well, you're asking for this, but not providing the same level of like tit for tat. So I think, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a development in the overall narrative of the game, of like something that happened, and it's too late to sweep it under the rug. I worry that some players are going to think I'm complicit in something and it's going to come back to me. So I don't know. It's a really tricky position. And I'm, you know, outside of the game trying to just like be a fair, equitable, like normal human being. In the game, I'm trying to just continue to work on relationships, and hopefully that's enough to carry me through this current drama that's going on. So I don't know. It's really tricky.
Okay. So top three people right now, level two, almost over, that you feel like, hey, I need these people around for me to have a successful run here, right? And I like to
Yeah.
ask this so we can see where you are and how it's changed a few levels down the road. So top three people that right now you feel you need for your success, and then three people after being in this game for or two levels, getting to know them, three people that you feel will need to go, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next level, whether it's final five, that I need to get out of here in order for me to be the winner. They need to go.
Yeah. Top three, Autumn for sure. I feel like she's gonna be like that close ally I'm gonna need to keep close for intel, for powers, for just general gameplay. I think she is absolutely essential to my game. Um, I would say Romeo. He has social leverage and mobility, and I think is an amazing player. And I think having him as an ally will be more beneficial than me working against him. And I would say, oh, this is tricky, right? It's so early. Um, I almost feel like Kennedy is someone who, if fractured from Papa, will be really important to keep close, as she is very strategically smart. She is capable in challenges from what I've heard and seen. And I think at this point, she's playing under the radar enough where she can get away with her general gameplay. So, yeah, so I'd say Autumn, Romeo, and Kennedy under some caveats specifically. People who need to go, I know Sharonica has to go because she has already targeted me. And that much has already been confirmed through Garrett, through Papa, through pretty much everyone at this point. And I think if she sees me doing well socially, she's going to continue to try to target me. I'm still so very concerned with Sean because despite every attempt I'm trying to make to like work with him, I feel like he's not trusting of me. And so I'm concerned that he's really going to turn those sights onto me soon. So that very much so concerns me. And at this point, I think it has to be Billy who has to go. I made, I think, a really critical mistake in telling him my type. And I don't want that information out. And I need that information out of the game, as I would say sooner rather than later. I would also say Papa because he's in the middle, and I think he's very good. So that's four, but I said what I said.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Zach was at work, but he did leave. I'm all good out of questions. If there's anything else that like I haven't touched on that you want to get off your chest, of course, feel free.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that moving forward for like the next couple rounds, I feel like I need to lay low as much as possible. I feel like there's been heat brought towards me, and I think doing well in the first challenge and then winning the second one, sorry, the quest, I don't want to set up myself too quickly. So there's a super competitive side of me, but then like I'm gonna have to tone that down because I don't think I can like win the next challenge or two. So yep, just
How
focus on
important is it for you?
relationships.
How important is it for you? You just said, sorry, impromptu question based off what you just said.
Yeah,
You said so like you feel like there's like been heat on you and stuff, right?
yeah,
Uncomfortable. How important is it? Because obviously people that bring like obviously you're not the only one in the game with heat on you. There are other people who have heat on them, whether factual or just like perceived heat, doesn't really
yeah.
matter. Heat, right? So other people have heat on them. How important is it for you to keep people in the game that have like the heat is burning brighter, opposed to, because it's like a fine line, right? Because sometimes people who provide heat are like, I need to get you out. And then sometimes people who provide heat, it's like, oh, you are a good shield. So how has it been like determining that? Is it a factor in your game? Because you know what the heat feels like. How do you work with heat, essentially, is the question.
I think it's at this point there's been with the exception of like a few key people, like Billy's gotten a lot of heat, Sharonica has gotten a lot of heat. But at this point, there's been so much talking and speculation that I feel like there's been like an equitable distribution to this point. So I'm really trying to play that by ear each round. Like, it's such an interesting question, Sandy. That is such a good question.
I know. I realized it became more layered the more like it came out, and then at the end, I'm just like, okay, it's general heat because this is so much. So answer it however you can.
I feel like I can survive with a little bit of heat on me, right? And I think that's going to be inevitable at any point in the game, just based off of my experience in org so far, which hasn't been a lot. I've like done a decent job of making myself essential to other people's plans, which kind of mitigates that like heat that gets placed on me as a threat.
Yeah, it turns you more mild.
Yes. I'm finding that strategy to be more difficult. So I'm finding that I'm like having to pivot and play truthfully more loyal than I actually like to play. I really enjoy being that middle who like floats by and snipes people out as I like need to. So it's like forcing me to like kind of draw more lines in the sand, which I don't like doing, and it makes me uncomfortable. So in terms of other people's like placements, like I think shields are going to be more important to me really than I even have thought about till this moment. I think there's gonna be some real benefit of keeping some high burning folks in the game, if you will. So it's definitely food for thought.
All right, Brandon, you are good for episode 2, level 2. We will see you at debugging tonight. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, just now that the tag works, tag development.
Cool. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. And yeah,